Hello, welcome back to the GameBlox tutorials. This tutorial covers the inventory system. So what we're going to do is create an inventory list and show how to add things to it, take things out of it, and draw it across the bottom of the screen here. So this whole system works through a couple of global variables called inventory. They're imported, created automatically by the GameBlox library when you bring it in. And you see them here in the list section of the variables blocks. So they are, again, globals. You don't want to touch them or change their name. What we're going to do is add things to them to start off the game. So let's just say we're in the middle of the game. The player has a couple of items. We're going to set that up. We're going to do it in the stage script area. It's a good place to do global scripts. It wouldn't necessarily have to live here. It certainly could live on the player or some other sprite. So we'll just get rolling by getting a start flag. And so what we're going to do is add items one at a time to both the inventory and inventory all lists. The inventory all list should contain everything that's in the game so that the inventory system knows everything it needs to be looking for and checking. And inventory, on the other hand, is just what the player has at any current time. So the first thing we're going to do is initialize these lists, because you could have been testing your game. The player has a whole bunch of stuff. You just want to make sure you're back to ground zero. So we're going to delete everything in inventory, duplicate that, and delete everything in inventory all. Alright. So then we're going to add things one at a time to both lists. So let's just build out the entire inventory all list. So we're going to have a ruby, an opal, a rock, and a diamond. Not the lot, a diamond. So let's see if we can actually start with the diamond. Diamond to inventory all. Good. We'll just duplicate this 4 times. And we'll put the ruby in there. And these names will be used to identify those sprites. These names match the sprite you need to draw in the inventory. So you'll see I also have a big diamond over here. This is called diamond big. It's the first one. This is what the player might find in the world. So you might have a different sprite in the world that you click on, and then that goes in your inventory. You'd make the sprite disappear, and from then on the inventory system knows of that object as diamond, not the one that you got from the world. So okay, diamond, ruby, opal, rock. So then we're going to add some of these to the player's inventory. We won't add the diamond. You don't have that yet. We might as well just have all 3 of them in there. Inventory, inventory, inventory. So the player has 3 things. Now what I want to do, well for testing we'll just go ahead and draw it, but I'm going to change this up in just a second. So there's a command here in looks that's for show inventory, and this is really the whole inventory system right here. It's just a command that knows how to use these lists to draw an inventory. It comes with a bunch of parameters. It basically draws at the bottom of the screen with a 30 pixel spacing between each item, so it's pretty small. Gives you a number of columns, so that's a number of items that will fit horizontally across the area. You would just tweak this for your game based on how big you want your icons to be and where you want the inventory to be. I think it's horizontal. I think it's a horizontal layout no matter what. If you really wanted to do a vertical layout, you probably need to go into this code. I'll show that in the advanced section if you really want to. Could be a little bit involved, but not too crazy. If you want to make it layout vertically, you could just change up some things in there. So let's just play that. And look, oh, it did it. So it moves over here, and notice it also hid the diamond sprite. So it noticed that we didn't have the diamond because it knows what all the items are. It noticed we had these 3 but not the diamond. So it covered it up, and it won't show up until we get the diamond. Okay, so it's a good start. What I want to do is put this drawing command, you'll tweak the parameters, and you want it to be available from anywhere, I think, because there'll be times when you click on a sprite, you want that sprite to be able to say, hey, I just changed this list, redraw the inventory. So it won't redraw unless you call this command. So let's just put this on an event. for a what you might call a message. So when I receive, we'll just call this draw inventory. Hello. Draw inventory. Okay. So we'll still draw it at the beginning of the game, so that it shows up. And now let's just do the code to add an item to your inventory. So we're going to add the diamond to your inventory. So we'll go to Big Diamond, and if I'm not mistaken, we should just be able to add the word diamond to the inventory list. Wow, that is slow. I don't know why it's so slow. So when I'm clicked, when diamond big is clicked, let's add diamond to inventory, and that should do it. We're also going to hide ourselves. Once you click on the item, it's no longer in the world, it's in your inventory. Hide ourselves, and then we'll redraw the inventory. So we're not going to do the inventory command. We'll send that message to make sure we're always using the same drawing function. Your drawing function may also want to show a background for the inventory. You may want to have another command for hiding the inventory. And I think there's actually a command you might want to look at for that. Let's see, what am I looking for? I can't talk and think at the same time. We're going to send a message. Okay. Sending draw. Oh my goodness, draw inventory. Okay, so that should do it. Click on the big diamond, add something to the inventory, hide the sprite, and draw the main inventory. Let's see if that works. Start the game. You saw them blink, so they're being redrawn. So let's click on this, and it didn't work. Diamond. Alright, I figured out the problem. It is quite cryptic actually. If you rewind the video, you'll notice that there were actually two sets of variables over here for inventory and inventory all. Yeah, I can show you over on this other sprite. It's kind of voodoo why the second set appears. These are local variables related to this sprite here. That they must have been created when I drew that sprite. They aren't in the core blocks library. I went back and checked, so somehow they're getting generated, and that's confusing the script that is trying to reference the main list. So what I did, I guess I'll show you on another sprite. I deleted those two. So I'll just show you so you can kind of see what you need to do. Crazy. We'll work this out for game blocks 0.3 or whatever the next one will be. So delete a list. We want to delete them. Well, you got to be careful not to delete the top two. So we look at the list, and they stack them in order, so we can safely select this one. And you can see that one's gone now. We do the same thing, delete a list for the bottom one. It's gone. I had to do that in order to get the command to work. I tried doing the pull down to select the top one. It didn't seem to make a difference until I deleted those. So anyway, we're back in business now. So it's the same code we had before. Just got rid of those local versions of these global variables. And so now it should add diamond to the inventory list and redraw the list down here. We might as well just see what the inventory list looks like. So we've got 3 items in it, and we'll add the 4th. Start playing. Everything gets reinitialized. So we find a diamond in the world, we click on it, and boom, it gets added. So you can see it got added here, and because it got added there and we called the drawing routine again, it got drawn down here. So we're calling the drawing routine by sending this message, which gets caught back here on the stage. We catch it here and redraw the inventory. Alright, so that's adding an item to the inventory. Pretty easy. Note that the game will need to have some logic for this. If you're able to drop things and grab them again, you just need to make sure that you don't let the user click twice on an item in the world. You may have some extra logic to do beyond just that bit there, but for most point-and-click adventure games, at least for getting the concept across, that should be pretty sufficient. So let's go ahead and add some code for destroying something. What we're going to do is put some code in for dragging something out of the inventory and using it in the world. Another somewhat important aspect of using an inventory. So let's build, we can just build something on the diamond. And this will be a somewhat complicated piece of code. It's not too bad, but let's give it a shot here. So when we're clicked on, we want to catch an event on these inventory versions of the sprites. We want to catch a click event and then do something with it to enable drag. So let's see, when diamond is clicked. Now there's another block that comes with the game blocks library that handles dragging. So this will make this part easy. Just do mouse drag. And this pretty much just blocks execution. The script won't go anywhere else until the user lifts up on the mouse. So while the user has the mouse down, it'll keep that sprite with the mouse, and then when you let go, you can do some logic. So we'll basically just say if we're touching the lava when the player lets up on the mouse, and I'm actually doing if else, so we want to move ourselves. Oh no, we don't. I have another quick way to do that. Okay, never mind. Alright, we're just going to check to see if we're touching the lava. Back to sensing, touching, and we can just pull down. Let's select the sprite called lava. And if we're touching the lava, now this is where there's just a tad bit of funky syntax, but there's a single command we can use to delete something from the list. And let's see, it's probably hard to find. There's the standard list operations are up here. BYOB adds a bunch. I didn't really want to include all of these with the toolkit, but some of them were referenced internally within the BYOB block, so I kept them, so that they might add some more confusion than necessary. But here's one here, which I think I might have tweaked myself or added, but this gives us an easy way to delete something from a list. So we can drag out the variable form of the list. So here we go back here. I wonder if these are going to confuse us again. Let's just leave them there and see if it works or not. So we're going to grab the inventory, global inventory, and we don't want a gray border around it. We want it to just slot in there. So delete from there, if, and then we're going to pass in a condition. So you've seen this with the movement blocks if you've watched the movement block tutorial. We can pass in a piece of logic to be executed by this script. The script is actually going to do something kind of complicated. It's going to loop through the inventory looking for something that matches this condition. So this condition can be arbitrary, it can be something pretty complicated to filter a list, but we're just going to go check to see if the list item equals the item that we are. So again, this needs a gray border around it because it's going to be used over and over and re-executed. And here's the funky syntax. We're going to check if a list item equals diamond, and to do that we actually leave this blank. And what's happening is that internally it's finding the first blank slot and it's filling that in with each item in the list. So that's a lot of these BYOB blocks work that way. So if you're doing something that's going to do some internal looping, likely you'll leave something blank so it can use that slot for the list item. So that should do it. So that should remove the item, and we're going to do what we did before and redraw the list once that operation's done. And this will do two things. One is if you didn't drop it in the lava, it'll redraw the list and put the diamond back. But if you did drop it in the lava, then it won't have it there anymore to draw. So broadcast, draw inventory. Alright, we should have a complete demo here. So we're going to get the diamond, it shows up. We can now drag it around, we do something dumb with it, and it didn't work. When diamond, click the drag works. Oh, you know why? Okay, here's a good tip. This is why I suggest in the BYOB overview to run full screen. What happened is the UI took over when I did that. So what I have to do, I'm going to run this full screen for us to work. So there we go. Get the diamond. Okay, grab the diamond, drag it around. Now this is the drag sprite working, the drag command working. I let go and it redraws here. And I drag up to the lava, let go in here. You can play a sound effect here if you want. You saw the list update with it being deleted. There's only 3 items left, and it no longer draws here. So there you go. So this tutorial should have given you enough to create an inventory back here, add an item to the inventory, and remove an item from the inventory. And that's pretty much all you'll need to know. Where you'll want to embellish will be in the draw command. Down here you might want to always draw the background of the background of the inventory here, something that looks a little prettier. And I do think there's a hide inventory. Let's see, show inventory, hide inventory, yeah. So you can actually use this. Let's see what happens. If I double click it, boom, it's gone. So you can use that as well. You might attach that to a hide inventory command, and then you could hide the background that you create as well. So I don't know why it's still running. Oh, that's something to look into. I'll probably have to clean that up before we actually release this toolkit. But that's it for inventory.